The impossible moment. No alien civilization had ever seen a creature do what the human was about to do. Across the silent forest of the planet Ilvara 9, glowing trees whispered in the wind and strange creatures watched from the shadows. But the thing that would soon shock the entire galaxy was not the falling ship, not the fire in the sky. It was a single human pilot calmly snapping his broken bones back into place like it was just another Tuesday. And the alien girl who saw it? She fainted instantly. Because on her world, that kind of pain should have killed him. But humans were different. Very different. A fire from the sky. The sky burned as Captain Adrian Hale fell through it. His ship screamed through the atmosphere like a wounded meteor, flames licking across the hull. The cockpit shook violently as alarms blasted in every direction. Warning. Structural failure. Engine collapse. Navigation offline. Adrian sighed. Yeah, I noticed. He gripped the controls while the ship spun wildly. Outside the viewport stretched an alien world of glowing jungles and black crystal cliffs. Not exactly the smooth landing he had planned. A massive explosion rocked the ship. The left engine tore apart. Panels burst open. Sparks filled the cockpit. Adrian laughed nervously. Well, that seems bad. Gravity grabbed the ship like an angry giant and dragged it down. He fired the emergency thrusters. Nothing. He slammed another control. Still nothing. All right, he muttered. New plan. Crash slightly less violently. The ground rushed toward him. Trees shattered. Metal screamed. And the ship slammed into the jungle like a falling hammer. Silence after impact. For a moment, there was only silence. Smoke drifted through the broken cockpit. Somewhere outside, strange animals cried into the glowing night. Adrian blinked slowly. Okay, he whispered. Step 1. Survive. He tried to move. Pain exploded through his arm. His left forearm bent in a direction that arms absolutely should not bend. He stared at it. Well, that's unfortunate. The bone had clearly snapped. His training kicked in immediately. Broken bones were not new for human explorers. He grabbed his emergency kit with his good hand and pulled out a splint. But before the splint, the bone needed to be reset. Adrian stared at the crooked arm. This, he said calmly, is going to hurt. The snap. He braced his arm against his knee, took a deep breath, and pulled. Crack. A sharp, brutal snap echoed through the wreckage. Pain exploded across his vision like fireworks. His teeth clenched so hard his jaw trembled. For several seconds he couldn't breathe. Then slowly, the pain faded enough to think. He secured the splint. Wrapped the stabilizer tight. Exhaled slowly. Good as new, eventually. That was when he heard the gasp. A soft sound. Shocked. Terrified. Adrian froze. He turned his head. And saw her. The witness. Standing just outside the broken hull was a tall alien girl. She had 4 slender arms and glowing pale blue skin. Her large reflective eyes stared at him with pure horror. Bioluminescent patterns flickered across her body like shifting emotions. She had clearly watched everything, including the bone snap. For several seconds they simply stared at each other. Human and alien. Both equally confused. Adrian raised his hand slowly. Hi. The alien girl's gaze dropped to his arm. Her skin flashed from blue, to sickly green, to pale purple. Her eyes widened even further. Then she fainted. Just collapsed straight to the ground. Adrian blinked. He looked at her. Then at his arm. Then back at her. Well, he muttered, that's a first. First contact. Sort of. Adrian climbed carefully out of the wreckage. The jungle glowed around him with strange light. The alien girl lay motionless on the ground, her skin softly pulsing lavender. He crouched beside her. Please don't be dead, he said quietly. First contact paperwork is complicated enough. He gently nudged her shoulder. Nothing. He tried again. Still nothing. Great, he sighed. I scared the alien unconscious. Her skin flickered suddenly. Lavender turned bright green. Her eyes snapped open. She looked directly at him, and immediately screamed. The translator chip in Adrian's ear struggled for a moment before converting the sound. Monster! She scrambled backwards with incredible speed, using all 4 arms to push herself away. Adrian raised both hands. Whoa! Easy! Her glowing eyes pointed straight at his arm. You were broken, she shouted. Yes. I saw the bone tear. Also yes. You should have shed the limb. Adrian blinked. What? She stared at him like he had just insulted gravity. Broken limbs must be discarded, she said slowly. That is the law of flesh. Adrian looked at his arm. Then back at her. You throw away arms. Of course. He rubbed his face. Okay, that's horrifying. 2 very different species. The alien girl pointed again at his splintered arm. But you repaired it, she whispered. Yep. Her skin flickered through multiple colors rapidly. That should not be possible. Adrian shrugged. Human bodies heal. She leaned closer, fascinated and terrified at the same time. You endure the pain. Yep. You do not detach the limb. Nope. You grow stronger after injury. Usually. Her eyes widened slowly. In her entire species history, pain meant weakness. Damage meant replacement. Survival meant discarding what was broken. But this strange creature fixed itself, improved, endured. For the first time, the alien girl began to understand something terrifying. This species might be far more dangerous than anyone realized. The beginning of something bigger. Adrian noticed her expression change. What? She whispered quietly. If the others see you, they will panic. Others? Her skin dimmed. My people believe pain means death. Adrian smiled faintly. Well, that explains the fainting. But her next words were far more serious. You must hide. Adrian frowned. Why? The alien girl looked toward the glowing jungle horizon. Far away, enormous lights were rising into the sky. Warships. Alien warships. Her voice trembled. Because my people are not the only ones watching. Adrian followed her gaze. His smile slowly faded. Well, he sighed. Looks like today just keeps getting better. The lights in the sky. The glowing lights above the jungle grew larger. They were not stars. They were ships. Huge alien warships drifted slowly through the clouds like silent predators. Their metallic hulls reflected the strange bioluminescent forests below. Captain Adrian Hale watched them carefully. He had seen warships before, but these were something else entirely. The alien girl beside him trembled. Her skin flickered between pale green and dark violet. Fear. Pure fear. We must hide, she whispered again. Adrian crossed his arms slowly. Are they hunting you? Her eyes widened. They hunt everything. Adrian sighed. Fantastic. A dangerous truth. The alien girl slowly stood up. Her 4 arms moved nervously as her glowing skin pulsed faster. My name is Lyra, she said quietly. Adrian nodded. Adrian Hale. She glanced again at his injured arm. You truly repaired yourself. Working on it, Adrian replied. Lyra looked toward the sky again. They are called the Dominion Fleet. Adrian didn't like the sound of that. What do they do? Her answer came in a whisper. They conquer worlds. Adrian rubbed the back of his neck. Yeah, that sounds about right. Lyra's species, the Valari, had lived peacefully on Ulvara 9 for thousands of years. They were scientists, artists, and explorers. They avoided conflict whenever possible. But the Dominion was different. They saw weakness as an invitation. And the Valari were very weak. Dominion warriors replace injured limbs, Lyra explained. They replace organs, bones, even their eyes. Adrian tilted his head. So everyone here just swaps parts instead of healing? Yes. And pain? Lyra looked confused. Pain means failure. Adrian chuckled quietly. Well, humans might surprise you. The first lesson about humans. Lyra looked down at his splintered arm again. How did you not collapse? Adrian shrugged. Practice. Her glowing skin shifted to bright yellow. Practice. Broken bones, burns, cuts, sprains. Humans deal with them all the time. Lyra stared at him. Her translator processed the sentence twice. That sounds terrible. Adrian laughed. Yeah, sometimes. But then his expression became serious. But it also makes us tough. Lyra studied him carefully. The Valari had evolved to avoid pain completely. Their bodies would abandon damaged parts to survive. But this human species, they endured damage, repaired it, and kept fighting. That kind of biology was almost impossible, and deeply frightening. The jungle begins to move. Suddenly the forest grew quiet. Too quiet. Adrian noticed immediately. The glowing insects stopped buzzing. The strange animals disappeared into the shadows. Lyra's skin turned dark blue. Danger. They are here, she whispered. A loud mechanical sound echoed through the jungle. Branches snapped. Heavy footsteps crushed glowing plants. Adrian crouched slowly beside the wreckage of his ship. What are we dealing with? Lyra's voice trembled. Dominion scouts. 3 massive figures stepped out of the jungle. They were huge. Each warrior stood nearly 3 meters tall. Their bodies were armored with black metal plates fused directly into their flesh. Their eyes glowed cold red. Weapons hummed in their hands. Adrian raised one eyebrow. Well, those look friendly. The hunters. One of the Dominion soldiers scanned the crash site. A mechanical voice spoke through its helmet. Unknown vessel detected. Another soldier turned toward Lyra. Its glowing eyes narrowed. Native life form identified. Lyra froze. Her entire body trembled. The Dominion warrior lifted its weapon. Adrian sighed. Oh, come on. Before the alien soldier could fire, Adrian stepped forward. Hey! All 3 warriors turned toward him instantly. Their scanning systems flickered rapidly. Unknown biological entity detected. Adrian waved casually. Hi. The largest soldier tilted its head. Your limb is damaged. Adrian glanced at his splint. Yeah. The soldier analyzed the injury, then paused. You did not replace it. Nope. The soldier took one slow step forward. That is inefficient. Adrian shrugged. Works for me. The Dominion soldier suddenly grabbed his arm. Hard. The grip was like steel. Lyra gasped. But Adrian barely reacted. The warrior twisted his arm slightly. Testing. Studying. You feel pain. Yep. You continue functioning. Yep. The soldier released him slowly. This is unusual. The moment that changed everything. Then the Dominion commander did something unexpected. He punched Adrian directly in the chest. Hard. The impact sent Adrian flying backwards into the dirt. Lyra screamed. The Dominion warrior spoke coldly. Test of durability. Adrian groaned. Oh. Slowly, he pushed himself up. Lyra stared in disbelief. The Dominion soldiers stared too. Adrian wiped blood from his lip. Then smiled. Okay, he said. My turn. Before the soldiers could react, Adrian grabbed a broken metal rod from the wreckage and swung it directly into the Dominion soldier's knee joint. Crack. The joint snapped. The massive warrior collapsed instantly. Lyra's eyes widened in absolute shock. The other soldiers froze. Adrian stood there breathing heavily. Turns out, he said calmly, Humans don't need perfect bodies to fight. The birth of a legend. The remaining soldiers stepped back. Their scanners ran new calculations. Probability data shifted rapidly. Biological durability exceeds expected parameters. Lyra whispered softly, "They are afraid." Adrian smirked. "Good." The Dominion commander slowly dragged its damaged leg backward. Then it spoke into a communication device. "Alert Fleet Command." It paused. Then continued. "We have encountered a human." Adrian raised an eyebrow. "Oh great." The soldier finished its message. "This species is problematic." Lyra slowly looked at Adrian. For the first time, the fear in her eyes was mixed with something else. Hope. Maybe the Valari had finally found something the Dominion had never prepared for. A species that didn't give up when broken. A species that got stronger after pain. A species called human. And the galaxy had just realized something terrifying. Humans might be the most dangerous survivors in the universe. The message that reached the stars. The Dominion soldiers' transmission traveled across space in seconds. Inside the massive command ship orbiting Ilvara 9, dozens of officers studied the data stream with confusion. A damaged biological creature had survived a crash. It had repaired its own broken limb. It had taken a direct strike from a Dominion warrior and still fought back. That should have been impossible. Dominion Commander Zareth leaned forward in his throne-like control seat. "Replay the recording." The hologram appeared again. A human snapping his bone back into place. Then standing up after being punched by a soldier twice his size. Then breaking the soldier's armored joint with a simple metal rod. The command bridge grew silent. Zareth's red eyes narrowed. "Interesting," he said slowly. "For the first time in centuries, we may have discovered a species worth studying." The jungle standoff. Back on the jungle floor, the atmosphere was tense. The remaining Dominion soldiers kept their weapons raised. Adrian Hale stood calmly in front of Lyra. His breathing was steady. His arm still hurt like hell. But he wasn't about to show that. Lyra watched him in disbelief. "Why are you standing in front of me?" she whispered. Adrian glanced back briefly. "Because those guys look like the type who shoot first." "But you are injured." "Yeah." "Then you should retreat." Adrian smiled faintly. "That's not really our style." Lyra's glowing skin shifted slowly into a color she rarely displayed. A strange mixture of admiration and confusion. Her species had always avoided danger. But this human walked directly toward it. Dominion curiosity. One of the Dominion soldiers spoke again. "Human." Adrian tilted his head. "Yep." "Why do you defend this weaker organism?" Adrian blinked. "Weaker organism." The soldier pointed toward Lyra. "She lacks combat capability." Adrian laughed softly. "Buddy, that's not how humans think." The soldier's scanners flickered again. "Explain." Adrian looked back at Lyra. Then at the towering warriors. "Because protecting people who can't protect themselves is kind of our thing." Lyra's eyes widened. Among the Valari, survival meant avoiding danger. Protecting others often meant dying. But this human seemed completely comfortable with that idea. And somehow, that made him even more frightening. The sound from the sky. Then something unexpected happened. A loud thunder rolled across the sky. Not from the Dominion fleet. From somewhere else. Adrian looked up. Lyra looked up. Even the Dominion soldiers turned their helmets upward. New lights appeared above the clouds. Fast lights. They moved differently than Dominion ships. Sharper. More aggressive. One of the Dominion soldiers spoke immediately. "Unknown vessels entering orbit." Another replied. "Energy signatures unfamiliar." Adrian's smile slowly returned. "Well," he said quietly, "looks like my ride showed up." Lyra stared at him. "Your ride?" Adrian nodded. "I sent an emergency beacon before crashing. Her glowing skin flashed bright orange. You called your people? Of course. How many are coming? Adrian shrugged casually. Probably a lot. Human arrival. The clouds split open. Massive steel ships descended through the atmosphere. They were bulky, scarred, and covered in weapon systems. Unlike the sleek Dominion vessels, these ships looked like they had been through hundreds of battles. Because they had human warships. Dozens of them. The jungle trembled as one ship hovered low above the crash site. A deep voice echoed through loudspeakers. Unidentified Dominion forces, you are interfering with a human rescue operation. The Dominion soldiers froze. Rescue operation? For one injured human? Adrian waved up at the ship. Hey guys. Lyra stared at him in shock. You called an entire fleet, for yourself. Adrian scratched his head. Well, technically the beacon is automatic. Her skin turned bright yellow again. In my world, injured explorers are considered lost. Adrian chuckled. Yeah, humans don't do that. Dominion realization. Inside the Dominion command ship, Commander Zareth watched the situation unfold. More than 30 human warships now surrounded the planet. Their weapons powered up. Their shields flared brightly. All this, for one pilot. Zareth finally understood something disturbing. These humans were not just durable. They were loyal. Fiercely loyal. The kind of loyalty that turned a single injured soldier into a reason for war. He leaned back slowly. Cancel ground engagement. One officer hesitated. Commander. Zareth pointed at the screen showing Adrian Hale standing calmly below. That creature broke its own bones back into place. He paused. Then attacked our soldiers while injured. Another officer asked quietly, "What are you suggesting?" Zaretha's voice turned cold. "I am suggesting, we have just met a species that does not understand surrender. The human difference." Back on the jungle floor, the Dominion soldiers slowly retreated. Their ships began pulling away from the planet. Lyra watched in disbelief. They are leaving. Adrian shrugged. Guess they're not in the mood anymore. The human dropship descended beside them. The door opened. Several armored soldiers rushed out. Captain Hale. Adrian waved. Still alive. One medic looked at his splintered arm. You reset the fracture yourself again, didn't you? Adrian grinned. Faster that way. The medic sighed. Every time. Lyra stood frozen. These humans treated pain like an inconvenience. Injury like a temporary problem. Fear like something optional. One soldier noticed her. Captain, is that an alien? Adrian nodded. Yep. She helped me. The soldier immediately lowered his weapon. Then she's under human protection. Lyra felt something strange in her chest. A feeling her species rarely experienced. Safety. The beginning of a new legend. As the rescue ship prepared to leave, Lyra looked at Adrian one last time. Your species is terrifying. Adrian laughed. Yeah, we hear that a lot. She studied him carefully. You break, but you do not fall apart. Adrian shrugged. That's humans. Lyra looked up at the massive fleet filling the sky. For the first time in her life, she realized something incredible. The Dominion ruled through fear. But humans ruled through something much stronger. Endurance. And if the galaxy ever threatened humanity, it would discover a terrifying truth. Humans didn't stop when things broke. They fixed them. And kept going. Forever.
El gusanito.
Quiero ver tus orejitas de tela entera. Lo martelo.
No. Las tengo en la mochila, güey. Mucho pedo para sacarlas. Róbatelo. No. Portaplacas. Ya me ¿Dónde están los putos elfos, güey? ¿Te calmas? ¿Te calmas? ¿Qué es eso? A la madre, ¿qué es eso?